Hey, what's going on? YST here and welcome back to another Raid Shadow Legends video. And today we've got a pretty unique composition that I'm really excited to showcase, which is using 4 recent 10x epics and the legendary fusion Tatura A3. The speeds are extremely slow, so if you're trying to build an Ultra Nightmare composition for the first time, this team today is going to be surpassing 45 million damage, affinity friendly, and if you look on the right hand side, the speeds are extremely slow, with the exception of Tatura A3 running at a 4:3 ratio. So the speeds really attainable for most players. What makes this team really great is it's based off damage mitigation, which is a topic I spoke about in a previous video if you want to go and check that one out. And Vogoth here made the team 10 times better because he's got healing with his passive, he's got a leech with his passive, keeping our team topped up. And he also has a triple hit A1, which is really nice for Giant Slayer procs. Geomancer and Venomage applying that damage mitigation with heal reductions and HP burn. We've got Toragi The Frog for ally protection, and Tatura A3 to keep us affinity friendly and to apply that perfect veil. You can see here, there's no Unkillable, no counter attack, no ally attack, no 2:1 ratio speeds, and as I said, 45 million damage, affinity friendly, and we're also going to be reaching turn count 57, which is well past that 50 turns threshold. But yeah guys, you are going to see the value of that damage mitigation because we're not going to have increased defense up on AoE 1, and we're relying on their passives to kind of keep us alive, which you're going to see in the run, and it is amazing. But of course, we're going to have increased defense on Tatura for AoE 2. But before we get into the video, I do want to give a huge shout out to my boy Fisher, who behind the scenes has been working really hard with me in theory crafting these attainable compositions for you guys trying to reach the Ultra Nightmare difficulty. So show him some love and be sure to hit that like and subscribe button to see more videos like these because it really does help out the channel. But without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, so it's only right that we start off with Vogoth here, who is pretty much the man of the match. Like, he's really great, and what makes his kit amazing is this passive here, whenever he's attacked, places a leech debuff on the attacker for 2 turns. This is vital if you're not running lifesteal sets or extreme healing, because as you're applying your War Master onto the clan boss, you're going to be healing by substantial numbers if those proc. He also has an AoE heal, so whenever this champion is attacked, heals all allies by 25% of the damage received from boss attacks. And this is a really great passive to keep your team alive. A2, decreased attack is okay, but we're not mainly using him for that because we do have that in our team already. A1 attacks one enemy 3 times, which is really nice for Giant Slayer procs, and each hit has a 30% chance of increasing the duration of one random debuff on the target by 1 turn. Which is a nice touch, I guess. So in terms of the gear that we're using today, it's a Guardian set on Vogoth only. And if you're not aware of what this can do, the wearer absorbs 10% of all damage dealt to allied champions and heals by 10% every single turn. This is really great because he's in a high HP, he's able to absorb that damage, and he's also heals by 10% every single turn. So he's taking damage away from your allies, but applying heals to himself. If you can get this kit on just Vogoth, you're gonna see great results. But if you don't have one kit of this, which I think most people hitting Ultra Nightmare should do if you do participate in the Doom Tower, maybe Star Wars or Lifesteal as like second options. But definitely focus on this set if you can attain it. The speeds aren't insane, so I'm hoping that most of you guys can relate to this. We've got 1 perception set, and we've got speed and accuracy. We've got attack percent and speed, HP percent on the gauntlets, HP percent on the chest plate. We've got HP on the boots. If you cannot reach these speeds, you can go speed here. But optimizing it, go HP percent. We've got accuracy here on the banner. We have got HP on the amulet, and we have got defense on the ring. In terms of the overall stats, we have got 82,000 HP, 3,000 defense, 176 speed. This is criminally low for Ultra Nightmare, guys. Everybody in this team is slow, 1:1 ratios. The only person going at 200 plus is Tatura A3. 25% crit rate, 72% crit damage, and a 329 accuracy. A bit high, you could afford to drop it off a little bit, but you're aiming for at least 250 for Ultra Nightmare. And in terms of the masteries here, we've got the offensive tree down to Giant Slayer, because we've got that triple hit of the A1, and we've got the support tree trying to add to his heals. So let's get into the next champion, and that is going to be Toragi The Frog. He's back again. If you don't want to use Toragi the Frog, a great substitute would be Skull Crusher, and it could actually add to the value of your damage. But in this team today, I wanted to showcase that without counterattack, you could still make it work. So in terms of Toragi, we have got him in a Stalwart kit, but let's go over his skills first. So decrease attack on the A1. This ability here, we are going to be blocking with presets. And then on the A3, places a shield buff equal to 15% of this champion's max HP and a 50% ally protection buff on all allies except this champion for 2 turns. He also heals this champion by 25% and places a 30% reflect damage buff on them for 3 turns. This is an amazing ability. He's putting ally protection for your champions, and he's also healing himself, and he also increases the heal by 2.5% for each poison debuff on the enemy team. And if you think about his passive and Venomage, there's going to be a lot of poisons up. In terms of the gear sets, I did mention music Stalwart, and what this gear set does is takes 30% damage taken from enemy AoE attacks, adding to that damage mitigation. So overall, trying to aim for the speeds in the substats again. And then we have defense on the gauntlets, HP percent on the chest plate, and defense on the boots. We then have accuracy on the banner. We've got defense on the amulet and HP on the ring. Overall stats on Toragi the Frog is 65,000 HP, 3.6k defense, 194 speed, 40% crit rate, and 240 accuracy. So that's Toragi the Frog, and let's get into the next champion. So next up here is going to be Venomage, a champion that I've become a really big fan of recently since the damage mitigation test. You can go and check up that video if you want to. I'll card it above the screen. In terms of what we're using this champion for, is attacking one enemy 2 times, great for War Master procs, and each has a 35% chance of activating up to 2 poison debuffs on the target. Really great for like instant damage. And then on the A2, attacks one enemy, has a 75% chance, 100% chance once booked, of applying decreased attack and a decreased defense debuff if they are under poison debuffs, which is where you want to open up with this A3, which attacks all enemies and applies that heal reduction and also the 5% poisons. Really great kit, to be honest. Double hit A1, we've also got decreased defense and decreased attack, we've got heal reductions and poisons. You may be thinking, why do you want heal reduction on the clan boss? Well, in her passive, enemies under heal reduction debuffs inflict 15% less damage. Really great champion. In terms of the gear that we're using today, we have got a regeneration kit. So we've got speed, crit rate, and accuracy. We've got speed, defense percent, a speed and defense percent here as well. We have gone for HP on the gauntlets, defense percent on the chest plate, and defense percent on the boots. The only reason we didn't max this up to 16 is we didn't want to risk getting an extra speed roll, because that would just mess up our tune, right? In terms of the banner, we have got defense, we've got HP on the amulet, and defense on the ring. Overall stats, 52,000 HP, 4.7k defense, 182 speed, 44% crit rate, and 273 accuracy. You can see here, guys, none of these champions are built for damage. It's purely based off literally debuffs and sustaining to the higher stages. We're going to get to like past turn 50. So that is a Venomage from the Lizardman faction, and let's head into the next champion. Okay, so heading into the next man of the match, I know loads of people love this champion because of the implementation of the Hydra boss. He's amazing in the clan boss too, if you wasn't aware. So in terms of his skills, the A1 is okay. It's mainly just for the counterattack mastery, which I'm going to show you very soon because he is going to be our stun target. A2, which removes all buffs, which kind of adds to that affinity friendly element, because you want to strip that decreased attack, well, increase attack from the clan boss, making sure you're not taking much of a hit. The A3 places a burn and a weaken to coincide with the decreased defense from our Venomage, and also if the target is under HP burn, you get less damage as well, which is great by 15%. But on top of that, he is deflecting damage back to the clan boss if they are under HP burn, which adds to crazy damage, by the way, which you may have seen through the Hydra boss. In terms of the artifacts here, we have got a lifesteal set. Because he is our stun target, we're going to be using this mastery in the defensive tree, so the retribution and the deterrence. So when he is getting stunned, which is what this one kind of does here, there's a 20% chance to counterattack. So depending on RNG, if he is counterattacking often from this deterrence mastery, you're able to survive a lot longer because that stun does hurt over the long run. Also, this ability here works out really great to keep him topped up. So in terms of the gear sets that we're using, I did just mention we're using a lifesteal set, and we're just aiming for speed and accuracy again. We've got some crit rate here, we've got speed and crit rate, defense percent on the gauntlets, defense percent on the chest plate, and defense percent on the boots. We have then got accuracy on the banner, defense on the amulet, and defense on the ring. Overall stats, 33,000 HP, 4.2k defense, 178 speed, 80% crit rate. Preferably you want to reach 100% if possible through substats, because if he's critting, he's able to survive longer from those leech procs. And 269 accuracy. Once again, you can't afford to drop down to 250 accuracy. And heading into the final champion is going to be the recent fusion into Tatura A1. I'm glad to finally showcase him in a team that is really optimal. And in terms of the kit, if you're not aware, he does an okay A1 with decreased accuracy. We've got a block debuffs and an increased defense on a 3-turn cooldown, which is amazing, keeping it affinity friendly and keeping that increased defense up. We then attack all enemies and places a perfect veil on all allies except this champion for 2 turns, and places a shield buff on this champion for 2 turns equal to 20% of the damage inflicted. So he's making himself have a bit of damage mitigation through the shield, but he's also protecting all of your allies under perfect veil. In terms of the passive, when he's attacked, reflects 30% of the damage this champion receives back to the attacker, which is a great little touch. In terms of the artifacts, we are using Stalwart again, and we've got speed and crit rate, and we've got defense percent and speed, crit rate and defense percent, crit rate on the gauntlets, defense percent on the chest plate, and speed on the boots. Because he's the only champion going at a 4-to-3 ratio, it's pretty hard to get with just substats, so this will be the only champion you want to aim to have speed boots on. If you can do it without it, even better. In terms of the banner, we have got defense, we've got crit damage on the amulet, and defense on the ring. Masteries, we've gone the offensive and the defensive tree. Try to counter attack, it works out really well. So that is the gear, the stats, and the masteries for all of the champions being used in this composition. And let's get into the run and discuss how it's working. Let's go. Okay, so we're going to have Geomancer here in the lead, also applying that 25% HP aura. We've got Vogoth in second there. We've got Venomage, Tatura A1, and Toragi the Frog. The only time that you would change this composition is when you're facing magic, where the clan boss tends to want to stun Vogoth or Tatura A1. So when you're facing magic affinity, just switch your Tatura into the lead position, because it kind of makes the clan boss want to stun him first instead of your Vogoth, who is actually protecting your champions. So let's get into the run. Alright then, so in terms to set this up, you want to open up with the A3 with Tatura A1, and then the ally protection with the A3 on Toragi the Frog. Let him smack you, get some poisons up, and then an A1 with Venomage, A2 to strip that increased attack from the clan boss, and then an A1 with your Vogoth. And then just an A2 here with Tatura A1, A1 with Toragi the Frog. Remember to turn this off with presets, by the way. And then you want to head into the A3 with Venomage, A1 Tatura, A1 with Geomancer, and then from here, you could just click auto. It's the same for all affinities because it is affinity friendly. The only time you're going to face a bit of a problem with reaching a 2 key is when you're coming up against force, just because you can get weak hits with placing the decreased attack with your Venomage and your Toragi, and the run's pretty much going to fall short. If you stay tuned towards the end of the run, I will show you damage for the other affinities as well, and maybe discuss a few other options if you don't have these champions. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the run, and I'll catch you at the end. Okay, so we're just closing in on turn count 57, guys. Remember, this is a 1-to-1 ratio team with the only champion at 4-3 in Tatura A3. There's no counter-attack. It's insane. It shows the power of damage mitigation, so it's kind of a part 2 from the previous video that I just showed you guys. But we've got Geomancer here with 20 million damage, Vogoth at 4 million, 7 million on Venomage, 8.4 million on Toragi The Frog, and 5.9 million on Tatura A3. This is amazing. The speeds are extremely slow for most players to attain. They're all recent 10x champions that you could have got from shards, and one recent fusion that I'm hoping most of you guys did get. But let's go into a few other options you may want to use, and yeah, let's head over there. Okay guys, so before we talk about extra champions you may want to use, this is the damage from the magic affinity. 39.24 million damage dealt, very easy 2-key for sure. And this is the damage on the spirit affinity, which was the personal record at 48.36 million damage dealt, which is really great, right? The only ones you will face kind of a problem with is force, where it kind of sits in the realm of 30 million, but void, no problems at 35 to 40 million. Okay, so as we discussed briefly earlier, I think a great option instead of Toragi The Frog if you don't have him, who also has ally protection, is from the Ogrin tribes, and he goes by the name of Skull Crusher. So what this champion does, ally protection, counter attack, making sure you're getting extra hits. Really great to coincide with your Vogoth because he does a triple hit on the A1, which is really nice. And he can also heal himself back up to full because the damage isn't too bad from his A1. Possibly Underpriest Brogni, you could throw in there instead of a Vogoth. And also another champion that would be great is Sepulchre Sentinel, but I have already done a video on that, so you can go and check that out on the channel. But yeah, as you can imagine, it is really hard to replace some of these champions because it's purely based off damage mitigation. HP burn, minus 15%, Venomage, minus 15%, Perfect Veil, heal reduction, we've got the ally protection, we've got Vogoth's passive with the leech, making sure that the counterattack masteries proc and heal back our Geomancer. It's kind of like perfectly tuned to keep it at these kind of damage numbers. And you've seen the turn count, it was insane. So yeah guys, that is going to be all for the video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button for more content. And a big shout out to my boy Fisher once again for allowing me to showcase this team on his account today. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.